Hi everyone, welcome to another COVID beating craft project. These are simple crafts that anyone, even children, can do during the stay-at-home order while we're beating the coronavirus. And these projects are chosen because they don't need any special craft equipment. We'll just be making them using everyday household items. It's all about being adaptable and using what we already have at home in order to do something that we enjoy. So today's project is napkin greeting cards. What do you think? Here's one that I made earlier. And all you need for this project is a paper napkin with a pattern on it, some cardstock or some copy paper, some thin cards such as an old tissue box, and a glue stick. You'll also need a few basics such as scissors, and they're all listed below. So when you've got your things together, let's get started. I'm going to work using a blank card here that I've already got. I bought this ready to make cards with. It's got a score line down the middle, and I'm just going to fold it in half now to make my card, matching the corners and then making a nice fold down the edge using a bone folder. But remember, if you don't have a bone folder, you can use a credit card or an old gift card, something like that. Just whittle on and make a nice sharp fold. So that's my blank card. If you don't actually have any of those cards, you can make some using just plain card. If you've got a full sheet like this, you can cut it in half and then mark halfway here, which is 4 1/4 inches. Put your ruler down and make a score line right down there. Once you've cut the piece in half, you've actually got 2 blank cards there, so you can make 2 napkin cards. But if you haven't got any cardstock at all, don't give up. Look at this one I made. This is just a sheet of copy paper from my printer. And again, it's quite thin, but if you fold it in half, and then you fold it in half again, make a nice crease, it actually stands up quite well and will be fine for doing these cards. So there's lots and lots of options. The one tip I would say, if you're making a card yourself, a blank card, is choose your envelope first, because there's nothing more disappointing than making a card, decorating it, and then finding that it doesn't fit in the envelope. So envelope first, make a blank card to fit, and then you're in business. So back to my A2 card here. I'm going to decorate it using this napkin. So let's open it up. This is a full-size one, but you can use cocktail napkins as well, no problem. You'll have plenty of tissue paper on there. And I'm just going to take my scissors, and I really only want 1/4 of this to start with. So snip up there, snip along there. And then we're going to separate it. These napkins all have several layers. I think this one's just got 2. A pretty layer that's printed and a backing piece, so just carefully peel the backing off. And there we go. We're not going to be using that, but this is the piece I want. Well, by now, the piece that we've got is really thin. You can probably see my hand through it, but it's absolutely fine. And we're going to stick that first of all onto a panel of waste card. This, as I showed you, is a piece cut from a tissue box, Kleenex tissues. It measures 3 3/4 inches by 5 inches. See, just a little bit smaller than the blank card that we're going to stick it on. And if you're working in centimetres, that's 9 1/2 by 13 centimetres. So get your piece of thin scrap card and cover it all over with glue stick. At this stage, we're going to stick the tissue paper on. But I wouldn't recommend using wet glue because it just soaks through the tissue paper and you'll have really sticky mess. But glue stick is fine. I'm using this purple one, but it actually dries clear, so don't worry. But I chose it because I thought that as I do this, you can probably see where I've glued a little bit easier and see how I've covered the whole area of this piece of thin card with glue stick. And then I'm going to take my tissue, decide which bit I want in my card. Probably something like that, and just carefully stick it down. Now I'm not going to press it all over because if I do I might tear the tissue. I'm going to turn it over and just smooth it out like that. So it's stuck now quite nicely. We've got some waste edges round here, so I'm going to cut those off using scissors. Just trim the corners, and that means we've got less to get rid of later. So 1, 2, 3, 4 corners, so there's less bulk. Then take your glue stick again. We're not going to cover the whole of the back with glue, we're just going to go around the edge once on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4 edges like that. And then we're going to use the stickiness to just ease each edge down with a nice neat edge. Can you see that? Lovely. It's not going so well. We'll have another go. There we go. So now, although it looks pretty ugly on the back, you've already got a really beautiful start to your card. So you can go ahead and stick this onto your card blank if you want to. And with this I would use wet glue because it's stronger to stick the card pieces together. But if you've only got glue stick, then go ahead and do it with your glue stick. But just, you'll see on the sample card that I did here, I actually put another layer in here. If you've got some coloured card, then you can cut this to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches or 10 by 13 centimetres. And if you stick your decorative panel onto it first and then stick this onto the card, it really gives it an extra level of interest. So I'm using my wet glue, just run round here, all round the edges, not too close, I don't want it squelching out, and a squiggle in the middle. I'm sticking it first of all onto the purple card with a little border all around the edges like that. That's better. When you've got it in place, again, flip it over and press it from the back. And then we're going to glue this onto the card front like this. All around the edges, squiggle in the middle, that will do. Pop this onto the card front. And again, flip it over and smooth it from the back, give it some pressure. So already you've got a really pretty card before we do anything else. But we're going to make it a little bit more fancy. If you look at this one that I did earlier, you'll see that this flower here is actually raised up. Can you see? I can put a card behind it and it gives it an extra dimension to your card. So you need to go back to your napkin and choose one of the features of your design. It might be a butterfly, or it depends what your design is, but I'm going to choose, I think, this poppy. And I'm just cutting the poppy out with a bit of a spare edge to it. And once again, I only want the coloured tissue. I don't want this paper that's behind it. So let's try and ease off the tissue paper that's on the back. There we go. I've got some spare card here, so I'm just going to run some glue stick over that again. See the purple? Put down my poppy, flip it over, and then once it's dry you can take some scissors and trim it out, so you end up with something like this. Just look at this and see, I haven't actually cut it exactly on the lines of the poppy. I've given it a little bit of a border around it because it defines the flower so much better, and it's also a whole lot easier. When you get the fiddly bits you can just sort of go wavy over them. So it's a nice shortcut, but it also looks better for your card. I'm going to stick that somewhere there, but for now we'll work on the sentiment. So I've got a nice wording here that says happy birthday. I printed this off my computer and just fed a piece of card into the printer and printed it out, so you can have something that says whatever you want it to say. Sending you love and hugs, happy Easter, whatever you want. I've just done a happy birthday to be simple. And I'm going to trim this down before I put it onto the card. So I'll have it about that by that. And then see how I've done these little fishtail edges? You do this by snipping up the middle first and then come in from the corner. Can you see? That was my first cut in the middle, then come in from the corner and then take the second corner off. And that's the easiest way to get it so that it's pretty much even. Not bad. And the other end cuts from the middle, cut from the corner and from the other corner. and you've got a nice fancy banner. I'm going to put that up there just to be different. But before I put it on, I'm actually going to do something with the edges here. I've got a highlighter here, but actually any coloured pen will do. And I'm just going to rub the edge of the card along the pen, like that, and if I can, into the little V's, like that. Now when you look at the banner there, you can hardly see that pink when it's up in the air, look. But when you put it down onto your white paper, it actually just defines it and looks a lot nicer. Now when I'm crafting, I usually like to raise these up, and I use these 3-dimensional foam pads. But if you're not a crafter, you probably haven't got any of these at home. So if you've got 3D foam pads, by all means use them to put behind your happy birthday. But if you haven't, I've got another handy solution for you. This is a piece of corrugated card. It's actually a tag that I cut off a box, and it's about the same thickness, can you see, as the 3D foam pads. So I'm just going to cut a couple of pieces off here and make some little pads that will raise up that happy birthday sign. There's 2 there, I think I probably need 3. Again. So pop glue onto these. There we go. And put them onto the back of our sentiment. 1, 2, 3. And then put more glue onto the card. And stick that down onto my front like that. And that's just raised the banner off really nicely. Wait for that to dry. And of course I've still got my flower to go on as well. And I'm going to do exactly the same with this. I'm going to cut a couple more of these cardboard squares from corrugated card. 1. I think 2 should be enough. Glue them. Stick them on the back of the flower. A little bit more glue on the back of these now. And put it down as the centerpiece of your card, like that. How's that? If you've got some gems, you might like to finish it off by scattering a few gems on, because they always look good, don't they? So I've got a few here, just to pop inside the inserts of some of the flowers and make them look extra bright. And there we go. A rather nice instant birthday card, or whatever you want it to be, ready to give to somebody special. So if you like that idea, have a look at some of the others that I made. This was just from a cocktail napkin, and it had hummingbirds and flowers on, and I made that one. And I raised here the hummingbird and the happy birthday sign that I'd already got. So that was that one. I bought some napkins for Easter with daffodils on, and I made an Easter card like this. And again, I cut out an extra daffodil and put it on there with my sentiment. And I don't know about you, but I've always got some Christmas napkins left over. And I made these cards from some poinsettia napkins this year. 1, 2, 3. Different shapes, different designs, different ideas, but they're all exactly the same. This is a napkin, and this is a piece cut from another piece of the napkin and raised up a little bit with a greeting on. And I'm still waiting to do something with this. Isn't he cute? I'm sure that this snowman would make a really lovely Christmas card. So while you're sitting at home with nothing to do, if you can find some napkins or some Christmas napkins, you can crack on and make a whole box full of cards ready for future events. Now you know how easy it is to make beautiful greeting cards using napkins. You can go ahead and make lots more. Check out all of my ideas and make some of your own too. Until next time, stay safe and well. Thanks for watching.